Oh, Jesus. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with yours truly, Marty Johnson, a.k.a. P. Dawg Knight. Yeah, you know, every once in a while I have them boomer moments. So, hey, it's a lovely sunny day here in St. Paul, Minnesota. But it's not warm yet. It's still freaking cold. 8 degrees. Although that's, let's see, let me think about that. That's 20 degrees warmer than it was a couple days ago. So I guess it's not that bad. Yeah, the silence is deafening. The silence is over. There is no sound of silence anymore. I've got my reparations coffee. I am ready to go. Today we're going to talk about actually my favorite subject, sort of. We'll say just Twitter. Twitter is the subject of the day. Mainly because if you have been paying attention, if you've been watching YouTube the last day, yesterday on the Joe Rogan podcast, let's see. Oh, I'm getting all these notifications all of a sudden. I must not have had my computer on long enough today. If you're paying attention to Twitter yesterday, the number one trending topic yesterday was Tim Pool, because Tim Pool went on the Joe Rogan show yesterday along with Jack Dorsey. Now, the last time Jack Dorsey was on the Joe Rogan show, Joe Rogan got a lot of criticism because people didn't think that Joe asked enough questions about how Twitter actually works. In regards to banning people and putting people in timeouts and how they police their platform. So, Jack was invited back, and to get some help with some questions by someone in the know, he brought on Tim Pool, who I thought did a pretty darn good job of asking some of the questions that I would like answers to. And that why there's a whole lot of other answers. And then also he brought on, I don't know her name, Vijaya something. We'll get into that later. But she is an attorney at Twitter and also the head of their, what do they call it? Their Trust and Safety Council. If that isn't an Orwellian name, if you've ever heard one, the Trust and Safety Council. But I understand they have a job and they try to keep their platform accessible and make it so that I'm gonna buy that bell because I need a bell every time I say the word harm. Ding, just to make sure that Twitter doesn't harm people and try to keep it a I don't know what. Basically, they're how would I describe this? To keep it safe, make it safe for everybody. And so they have their ways of how they throttle certain types of actions and comments and things on Twitter. But as Tim Pool. As Tim Pool described yesterday, it always seems to go in one direction. Now, that may or may not be true. I was thinking about that, and I do know, and the implication being that they tend to throttle people who are on the conservative side of the spectrum. But I do know, a handful of people who are also on the left or even the far left side of the spectrum who seem to get the same kind of treatment. I don't know if it's in the same scale, mainly because I tend to follow more conservative or free speech, free enterprise type people. So maybe that's why I notice it more with the people that I follow than ones I don't follow as closely. But there are also plenty of people, especially the anti-war left. Now, the anti-war left tends to kind of gets beat up in a kind of different way on the social media platforms, but that's a whole nother story. But before I continue, I'm going to say good morning to everybody because I see a lot of you here. Sarah, good morning. Sean, who called me P Diggity Dog. That's funny. Good morning to Rideos, Gilded Liberty, Tyler F. I already said hi, Sean, Max Del Rio, Dark Alile. How do you say that? Dark Alile. Dark Lyle. Am I saying that right, Dark Lyle? Just let me know. And you're new here. I either that or you've lurked before. There's a lot of people who come in and have been getting more active in the chat. Yesterday, even my daughter came in the chat. Although, now I'm sure my daughter's going to show up here at some point this morning. Oh, by the way, and Saint Fugi, thank you for joining the chat. And Sean DW. So, who is the, excuse me. Who was the chick that was there? She was part of the well, okay. I'm gonna address this, Sean. So yes, who was the chick was there? And that's the Vajayale, I don't know her name, part of the trust and she's heads up the Trust and Safety Council. And the question Sean's asking, was Jack not a big boy and unable to answer the questions himself? He needed to bring on a lawyer. Well, I don't know if she's a lawyer. I thought someone said she was a lawyer, but maybe she's not. Hey, Jason Burns, good to see you. So he brought her because she was able to answer the questions and do the research. It's her position at Twitter to be a part of the decisions of who gets banned, who gets put in timeout, and she's part of the process of she's part of the process of who does that stuff. So that's why he brought her on, because Jack doesn't, Jack's the CEO. Yes, he's the CEO of Twitter, but Twitter has a lot of employees. They have a whole sections of things that he has to attend to. So I don't expect Jack to be able to answer every question about his platform. I expect him to understand why decisions are made and be a part of it, since it's his baby. He's the one who invented the damn thing. But I understand why he would maybe bring someone to ask questions. Plus, he's answering questions for two people are asking the questions. Two people are answering questions. I don't care. That's fine. And actually, I thought for JJ, yeah, I know. Hi, Void Horizon. Good morning. I don't know what her name was. Anyway, but where am I at here? So anyway, she was there to answer questions, and boy, that was an interesting show, to say the least. I don't think that I don't know that they necessarily got anywhere, but Tim Pool did a great job of asking the questions that I wanted to hear. Now, we're not going to go through a lot of that interview. We'll do one little section here, and hopefully, I don't know how big Rogan is on doing copyright strikes or anything, but I guess I'll find out after we do this. But we'll just watch one section of it, and I highly encourage you. Now, the problem is it's 4 hours long, so watching it all in one stretch. I just happened to watch about maybe 2.5 hours of it because I had it on in the background when I was doing some work here at home. But it was definitely worth the watch, and just hearing some of the just weird answers to questions. So we'll go through one section of it. You can do it. There's two places to do it. You can go to JRE Clips, and I'll show you that here. Here's the channel called JRE Clips, which is the official Joe Rogan Experience Clips channel, where where you get pieces of it. Or if you want to watch the entire interview, I think it's called the JRE Experience, or Powerful JRE. That's this channel. Okay, so that's the Joe Rogan Experience channel called Powerful JRE with 4 million, almost 5 million subscribers. So you can watch the whole interview. It's let's see, is it the 3 hour? Okay, they clipped it down to 3 hours to make it shorter. I think the entire thing was 4 hours. But let's go back into where I was here on JRE Clips. Did I do this right? No, I didn't. Let's go back here. JRE Clips, because there's one section that we'll just go through, and we'll kind of it gives you a good idea how this entire interview went. Let's see, here we go. This is when Tim Pool's talking about how they have a liberal bias. So let's just watch a little bit of this. Here we go. Oh, I don't want to go 20 minutes. There's a shorter clip. Nope, that's the one. We'll just watch a little bit of this, and then we'll make some comments. So, perspective.
No, I don't agree with that.
Well, so can you be clear though, in like what?
Let's start right here.
And I believe that to be the case.
So your platform restricts speech.
Our platform promotes speech unless people violate our rules.
And in a specific direction.
In any direction.
But I don't want to say his name. The guy who calls for death gets a suspension. The guy...
Her name is Vijaya. I'm sorry. I almost slipped. Her name is Vijaya Gotti. Okay, that's her name. Kind of like Gotti, G-A-D-D-E. Not Gotti like John Gotti. But you know what? There are some comparisons. Never mind. No, there's not. Okay, here we go.
Guy who insinuates death gets a permanent ban.
But Tim, you're misinterpreting what I'm saying, and I feel like you're doing it deliberately. It's not about one particular thing. It's about a pattern and practice of violating our rules.
And you have a pattern and practice of banning only one faction of people.
I don't agree with that.
Recently published an article where they looked at 22 high-profile bannings from 2015 and found 21 of them were only on one side of the cultural debate.
Now, that's from 2015. Now, I know that, like I said, I do know people on the far left who also gotten banned for certain things. But when you talk about the high profile ones, a lot of high profile people on the more right end of the spectrum are the ones to seem to get banned much more quickly and for sometimes even lesser things. Anyway, let's go here.
But I don't look at the political spectrum of people when I'm looking at their tweets.
Right, you have a bias.
I don't know who they are.
You're biased, and you're targeting specific individuals because your rules support this perspective.
No, I don't agree with that.
Well,
can you be clear though in like what rules support that perspective?
Specifically
By the way, I do have to hand it to Jack. Jack, during this entire 4 hours of talking, really seemed like he was trying to understand what was being said. Whatever you think about Jack and Twitter and how things happen there, I do give him credit for actually listening and inquiring and not arguing. Vijaya spent the most of the time arguing her points, sometimes well and sometimes well, but where you'd go, yeah, you made a great point, but that's your problem. The point you're talking about is your problem. So here we go.
The easiest one is misgendering, right? Because that's so clearly ideological. If you ask a conservative, what is misgendering? They'll say if someone is biologically male and you call them, she, biologically male and you call them a she, that's misgendering. That's a conservative view. The progressive view is inverted. So now you actually have in your policies a rule against the conservative perspective.
I have a rule against the abuse and harassment of trans people on our platform. That's what my rules
Can we just give context in the background as to
why that is?
Now this is interesting. I don't know if this was Tim's best argument, but and for someone who is on, let's say the intersectional feminist perspective, or even just the left, or people who popular culture side of things, are going to look at this and not understand his point here. His point being that is an ideological perspective, but when you listen to her, it is something so ingrained and so she doesn't even realize that she is in that bubble that only thinks one way. And so this is it's an interesting, and Poole himself is even on the left when it comes to these kinds of issues, but he brings this up. The point for me, I understood the point, but I can understand why some people would never even understand this point. But anyway, let's go.
I brought some research. So we obviously received a lot of feedback. So we don't make these rules in a vacuum, just to be clear. We have a bunch of people all around the world who give us context on the types of behavior they're seeing, how that translates into real world harm. And they give us feedback, and they tell us, like,
harm, real world harm. Again, how words on your smartphone bring real world harm. Again, words as violence. That concept just really drives me insane. Anyway.
You should consider different types of rules, different types of perspectives, different, like, for example, when we try to enforce hateful conduct in our hateful conduct policy in a particular country, we're not going to know all the slur words that are used to target people of a particular race or a particular religion. So we're going to rely on building out a team of experts all around the world who are going to help us enforce our rules. So in the particular case of
But your team of experts are generally going to come from a perspective, and that's what she doesn't quite get. And I don't know, I was trying to think of an example that Tim could have used that would have put this. Well, let's put it this way. He brought up a whole lot of different things where they have this almost just a fundamental difference based, what I would say, on ideology. And the better examples that he came up with when they were talking about how people were treated differently, especially came up with the Covington Catholic kids, how they were getting death threats and things like that. But then she kept talking about behavior. It's just, oh my God, it was annoying. Anyway, let's go.
Misgendering. I'm just trying to pull up.
Good morning, Midnight in Exile. Also, I think someone else just came in. Max Del Rio, were you here earlier? No, you weren't here earlier. Oh yeah, you were. I already said hi to you. But I'll say hi again because, sometimes I'll just say hi to you twice. By the way, hit the like button while you're here. Hit the like button, share, retweet the Twitter. In fact, let me pop that Twitter in there again. You can retweet that if you want. Good to see everybody here. I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. I wonder if my daughter's going to show up. Oh, by the way, well, when she gets here, I'll probably say this, or she might even be listening now. Who knows? But my daughter outed me yesterday. Actually, a lot of people in my family probably don't know that I do this daily broadcast, but which is fine. I don't care. I'm glad they do now. But she put it on Facebook, and so now I'm probably going to get some of her friends following it. In fact, her boyfriend's following me, and I really like her boyfriend. He's a good dude, and so if you're listening, Allie, we really like your boyfriend. Just thought I'd let you know. Anyway, I'm going to keep going here just for a little bit, and then I'm going to look at the beginning of this clip, and there's one other that I want to do, and then we're going to move on. So here we go.
Some of the studies that we looked at, but we looked at the American Association of Pediatrics and looked at the number of transgender youths that were committing suicide. It's an astronomical, I'm sorry, I can't find it right now in front of me. It's a really, really high statistic. That's like 10 times what the normal suicide rate is.
You know what? Well, here.
Of normal teenagers.
Keep going.
And we looked at the causes of what that was happening. And a lot of it was not just violence towards those individuals, but it was bullying behavior. And what were those bullying behaviors that were contributing to that? And that's why we made this rule. Because
the problem is the American pediatrics talk about suicide rates among trans kids has not changed before or after Twitter. It's been a pretty constant rate, and it's always been 10 times the rates of just the normal I shouldn't say normal population, average population. And it stifles people's ability to discuss these issues from different perspectives. It's not about bullying. Yes, I absolutely abhor bullying, but the way they use it does not allow for people to have one-on-one discussions. And if you make a mistake in one of those one-on-one discussions, like Megan Murphy, now she's not a right wing by any stretch of the imagination. She is far left as can be feminist, but she has problems and has arguments about the transgender, movement, so to speak. And so she got banned because she was arguing with somebody who opposed her views. It was a heated argument, and she made the statement that men are not women, and then she gets banned. Okay, and they say you get banned for things that are repeated violations of something. And so her repeated violation was they came down on her, said, you have to remove this tweet. She screenshotted the tweet, removed it, and put a picture of it saying, look, this is why I got banned. And then she got permanently banned. So, you know, I don't know. It's just nuts. How many trans are fucked up because they were a tomboy and these idiots convinced them they were trans? I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question too. It's because now you know, you have shows about like the kid who's in a transition. She becomes see, that pronoun thing always fucks me up. She becomes a TV star, and now, oh, it's so cool to be trans. I want to be trans too. Oh, that's my issue too, when it may not be, you know. And so everyone, you know, and now you got parents that push that before they let the child develop. Man, that's a whole nother story. I don't want to get into that though. I don't want to get into that because I'm not speaking from an informed, a fully informed view of that. So I try not to speak about that unless it's something like, for example, transgendered people participating in sports. And that's something that I'm trying to do a little more research on because I have opinions and I talk about that a little bit. And being a coach, it's an issue that is important to me. And also as a person who coaches both boys and girls, I like to look at the fairness aspect of that particular issue. So yeah, that's one of those where I feel a little more comfortable talking about it because I do know enough. I do know just enough to be dangerous. No, I do know enough, and I'm trying to reconcile certain opinions that I have by doing a little more research on it. So, for example, I have a couple articles up today that we might get into. And if I don't get them today, we'll get them tomorrow. But on that particular subject. But we're talking about Twitter today, so let's stick with Twitter.
We thought and we believe that those types of behaviors were happening on our platform, and we wanted to stop it. Now, there are exceptions to this rule. We don't, and this isn't about like public figures.
Okay, I want to move where let's see, Tim gets to the mega.
I actually agree with the rule. From my point of view, I agree that bullying and harassing trans people is entirely wrong. I disagree with it. But I just want to make sure it's clear to everybody who's listening. My point is simply that, Ben Shapiro went on a talk show and absolutely refused. And that's his shtick, and he's one of the biggest podcasts in the world. So if you have all of his millions upon millions of followers who are looking at this rule saying this goes against my view of the world, and it's literally 60 plus million in this country, you do have a rule that's ideologically bent. And it's true. You did the research. You believe this. Well, then you have Ben Shapiro who did his research and doesn't believe it.
Yeah.
And she completely does not understand his point here. And I understand his point. I wish he'd probably... Oh, yeah. Shapiro, yeah, the Daily Wire podcast and YouTube channel are pretty big. And they're not, I don't know, I don't know what the top 100 podcasts. I know Joe Rogan's is the largest one. And I know that the dude that used to be friends with Jimmy Kimmel, he has a huge one too. The hell's his name? Someone put his name in the chat. You know who I'm talking about. The guy who does had a construction show. Someone tell me who that is. Anyway.
And I relied on the American Association of Pediatrics and, human rights.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, Adam Carolla. Thank you. You used your. Did you hear her answer here? Okay, so he says Shapiro does his research and she's doing her research.
Ideologically bent, and it's true. You did the research. You believe this. Well, then you have Ben Shapiro who did his research and doesn't believe it.
Yeah, and I relied on the American Association of Pediatrics.
Look at her shit-eating grin when she says that. Whatever.
And Human Rights Council and other. And
I'm sure he has his sources too for when he gives his statements. The point is,
but I just wonder if they have that context.
It doesn't matter. You're talking about an ideological bent, and whatever.
And that's where we have also failed, as well as just explaining the why behind a lot of our policy and reasons.
I would agree, and I think it's fine. You did research and you found this to be true, but we can't simply say maybe Ben Shapiro and the other conservatives who feel this way don't know We have to. We can't. You know, the point I'm trying to make is it's simply whether you believe it, whether you justify it or not is not the point. The point is you do. You do have this rule. That.
Quick question: did that just go into a really echoey sound, like it did on my headphones, or did I just go into an echoey mode? Let me know.
Rule is at odds with conservatives. Period.
Well, I think that you're generalizing, but I think it is really important, as Jack said, to the why behind these things. The why is to protect people from abuse and harassment on our platform.
I understand, but you essentially created a protected class.
Okay, is it just them, or am I sounding like that too, out of curiosity? Thanks, Void Horizon, for answering. Did my voice suddenly get echoey? You went into echo mode. Okay, God darn it, I don't know why it does that. It has something to do with my computer. Them... Just them. Okay. Okay. All right. Good. Hello, Del Hayes. I didn't see you there. And also Check Your Logic and Void Horizon and Ezoob. All kinds of people showing up. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to keep going.
If this is the case, because despite these studies and what these studies are showing, there's a gigantic
Okay, so enough of that. You get an idea of how the arguments go by just that particular clip. I'm not going to listen to that whole one. And then real quick, we are going to do one more here, though, is that I thought, now, when they get into the learn to code argument, and it's funny because Vijaya... Vajaya seemed really super prepared for some of the questions, especially when they were talking about why Alex Jones was banned and why Milo Yiannopoulos, especially, man, she had her notes ready and had every little thing that Milo Yiannopoulos did. But then they got into this learn to code thing, and this is just a mishmash of garbage. Just listen to this one.
Yeah. But let's talk about learn to code, right? And why are people being suspended for tweeting hashtag learn to code?
Yep. We did some research on this.
Yes, we did some research on this. So there
never mind.
There was a situation, I guess about a month ago or so, where a number of journalists were receiving a variety of tweets, some containing learn to code, some containing a bunch of other coded language that was wishes of harm. These were thousands and thousands of tweets.
Ding! I'm going to go buy a bell today. I need that harm bell. I'm so sick of that word.
Tweets being directed at a handful of journalists, and we did some research.
At a handful of journalists, it was learn to code was a joke. Sorry, it's annoying to even listen to her talk about this, but let's go on.
Search, and what we found was a number of the accounts that were engaging in this behavior, which is tweeting at the journalists with this either learn to code or things like Day of the Rope and other.
But learn to code. Learn to code. Does that sound like a threat, or does that just sound like screw you bastards?
Their coded language were actually ban evasion accounts. That means accounts that had been previously suspended.
Doesn't
and
matter.
We also learned that there was a targeted campaign being organized off our platform to abuse and harass these journalists.
That's not true. So see, here's the thing. An activist who works for NBC wrote that story and then lobbied you. You issued an official statement, and then even the editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller got a suspension for tweeting learn to code at the Daily Show.
So I have never talked to anybody from NBC about this issue, so I'm not
but
sure.
So they report it. Don't misrepresent me. They report it. The narrative goes far and wide amongst your circles. Then all of a sudden you're seeing high-profile conservatives tweeting a joke getting suspensions.
Zombie Teddy asks, do you know where the learn to code came from? Yes, I do. I absolutely do. I think he explains it here, but if he doesn't, I'll go through it. Good morning, by the way.
So again, some of these tweets actually contained death threats, wishes of harm, other coded language that we've seen to mean death to journalists. So it wasn't about just the learn to code. It was about the context that we were seeing.
Actually, Max, no, the learn to code thing wasn't about conservative writers were fired. Actually, only the one conservative writer. It originally came from when some miners and manufacturing workers in the Midwest were being laid off, particularly in West Virginia and Ohio, and some writers from some writer from a major newspaper wrote some kind of an editorial where maybe they could go and have these these laid off, manufacturing workers and miners and things like that, maybe they should learn to code. Okay. And it was, I don't think the original editorial was meant to be mean-spirited, but it came off as so just freaking condescending. It came off so condescending to these people who had just lost their jobs, and they're talking about, well, maybe we should have these people learn to code. Then there was, I can't remember the name of the writer he was hired by the New York Times, and there was this big hubbub about whether or not this writer should be, he was, a conservative writer. And when even before he got to write his first column, they let him go because of the backlash that they were getting. And then they started using that same language, learn to code, for him. And so then when this happened with the all the BuzzFeed and all these Fusion, I think, anyway, all these pseudo journalists from these online outlets that are all losing money now, that's when these conservatives began firing back. Not conservatives necessarily, just people who didn't like these nut jobs who write for some of these outlets, began firing back with learn to code for them, because journalists originally put this learn to code meme against the miners and things like that. So that's where the whole learn to code thing came from. Anyway, here we go.
That's just not true. That's just not true. The editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller was suspended for tweeting nothing but hashtag learn to code.
So, Tim, can I finish what I was saying?
Yeah.
Well, Tim, can I finish what I was saying? Address that. She never addresses that there were people who were banned or suspended for only using the phrase "learn to code."
So we were looking at the context, and what was happening is there were journalists receiving hundreds of tweets. Some had death threats, some had.
And you know what? Another thing too. As this was all happening in real time, and people begin to get suspended and things like that, it's funny that you never found. Now, maybe it's very possible that the death threats and harmful language was deleted as these people were getting suspended. But it's funny that you never see any of that. A lot of people screenshot and archive that stuff, and you don't see much of that actually, any of those tweets that supposedly were these death threats. You don't see them, but I'm sure you could find plenty of people who screenshotted the learn to code tweets. So I'm sorry, I just don't know where this is coming from.
Wishes of harm, some just learn to code. And in that particular context, we made a decision. We consider this type of behavior dogpiling, which is when all of a sudden individuals are getting tons and tons of tweets at them. They feel very abused and harassed on the platform.
Can we pause this? Because this is super confusing for people who don't know the context. The learn to code thing is in response to people saying that people that are losing their jobs, like coal miners and truck drivers and things like that, could learn to code.
Yeah, see, that was the original learn to code, was the manufacturing, mostly manufacturing and mining sectors in the Midwest when they were losing jobs.
It was almost like in jest initially. Or if it wasn't in jest initially, it was so poorly thought out as a suggestion that people start.
Yes, check your logic. It's just screenshots. But I'm having what's it called? A verbal tic today, where I can't talk all the time. So I don't know. Just come on now. Just stop it.
mocking it, right? Correct?
So the first stories that came out were simply like, can miners learn to code? It was no
coal miners, right?
And the hashtag learn to code is just a meme. It's not even necessarily a conservative one, though you will see more conservatives using it.
But it was people are using it to mock how stupid the idea of taking a person who's uneducated, who's in their 50s, who should learn some new form of vocation, and then someone says learn to code, and so then other people, when they're losing their job or when something's happening, people would write learn to code because it's a meme.
Well, not even necessarily. I would just characterize learn to code as a meme that represents the elitism of modern journalists and how they target certain communities with disdain.
Okay.
So
I would ring the bell for that too if I had one. I'm getting a bell. I need a bell. Ding! Because that's exactly it. There was journalist disdain for people who they think were below them and thinking, oh, well, you should just learn to code if you're, if you're worried about having a job and being able to feed your family, just learn to code. Yeah. Jack.
To make that point, there are people who have been suspended for tweeting something like, I'm not too happy with how, BuzzFeed reported the story, hashtag learn to code, right? Making representation of these people are snooty elites who live in ivory towers. But again, this is a meme that has nothing to do with harassment, but, it's some people might be harassing somebody and might tweet it. Why would we expect to see, even still today, I'm still getting messages from people with screenshots saying I've been suspended for using a hashtag, and the editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller, right? He quote tweeted a video from the Daily Show with hashtag learn to code, and he got a suspension for it.
So why learn to code? Why is that?
So this is good. Anyway, so that's pretty good example of how this entire the entire podcast went. Good morning, Cynical Lindsay. How the entire podcast went. I mean, it was Tim Pool making some very good points at times. Sometimes I wish he would have pushed more, but I understand maybe why he wouldn't, because it was already 3 or 4 hours long. But I highly recommend going in and watching the sections of the podcast. And again, the best place, if you just want to do it in small bites, go to JRE Clips here, the channel, the YouTube channel, and they've already got it cut up into a bunch of different smaller bites. But if you want, again, you can go to the what is it called? JRE Experience. I don't know. You can go to the bigger channel if you. Powerful JRE is the other channel where they have the entire podcast on there. So. We're going to move on, though, because I don't want to spend a whole time on there. And if I spend too much time on that channel, I'm afraid of getting a strike myself. So we're going to get right into, speaking of Twitter, we're going to go right into Twitter trends today. Let's see. Let me see what you're saying here in the chat first, though. Let's see. Learn to code is the new let them eat cake. Yeah, that's exactly right, Max Del Rio. That's the kind of the let them eat cake thing that journalists were doing, and so now they were getting it thrown back in their face. It's a verbiage thing, screenshot. Yeah, I know. They started to learn to code, but are crying because the other side gets to use it. F those crybabies. Yeah, I got you. Oh, I see. Watching the Joe podcast with Tim Pool and Cuck. I mean, Jack Dorsey. I was wondering why I was craving some popcorn. Yeah, I'll tell you what. It was quite the show. I watched most of it as it was live, and then I went back and watched the parts that I missed. And I think Tim Pool did a very good job of bringing up the issues that everyone wanted to hear the first time Joe Rogan was on the first time Jack Dorsey came on the show. And Vijaya Gotti, man, she is the queen of doublespeak, but also, doublespeak. She just didn't understand. She didn't get it. And you can see how much of a bubble she is in regarding just certain ideas that she just didn't understand how what they were doing could be seen as bias towards one perspective. So, Tarai, it's been lovely having you here, dear. We'll see you back another time. Have a great day. All right, so let's get into a little bit of Twitter trends today, because we just need to. Hang on here. What's going on here? Okay, some people were doing a little of that. Okay, perfect. All right. So let's find out what's going on in the world today, because usually you can find out what's going on in the world by checking Twitter trends. Here we go. Number 1 is Ash Wednesday. Okay, yeah, if you're a Christian or Catholic especially, Ash Wednesday is a big day. When is Ash Wednesday? 219. When and what is the first day of Lent? So, for those, if those of you are interested, what's going on here? Okay, so this basically Ash Wednesday is part of. Okay, the season celebrating and indulging is over. Ash Wednesday is the first day of Lent. It's the first day of Lent. I guess I didn't. Why don't I know that? I grew up in a church, and that's why, because Fat Tuesday was yesterday, or Pancake Tuesday, some places call it. Wednesday is the first day of Lent is officially underway. Tuesday concluded Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, and Pancake Tuesday, a day of celebrating and feasting before the season of Lent begins. Wednesday was the first day of Lent, the period of 40 days plus Sundays leading up to Holy Week and Easter Sunday. Typically, Ash Wednesday is one of the biggest holy days for those in the Catholic Church and other denominations of Christian churches as well. So that's what Ash Wednesday is, and so you'll see a lot of Catholic people with little smudge of ash on their forehead. So there you go, Ash Wednesday. A lot of people talking about Ash Wednesday. Now, what I didn't do, I mean, that's... Oh, okay, and then a list of the things to give up for Lent. I know that one person I follow on Twitter decided to give up Twitter for Lent this year. We'll see how long that lasts, because she's fairly prolific on Twitter, but there you go. So lots of people talking about Ash Wednesday, and I'm not going to get a Catholic Guide to Ashes. Now, this is kind of funny. Let's look at this. Okay, first in line gets a nice little neat cross, the blob, the hasty, the Rorschach test, Father's Revenge with a giant old cross, the mini, the hipster, load toner, that's a funny one, Franciscan, and Hindu. That's kind of cute. Anyway, all right, enough about Ash Wednesday, because I'm whatever. Number 2 trending though is, and we're actually going to watch a little bit of this one too. R. Kelly happened to do an interview with Gayle King this morning. R. Kelly denies sexual abuse allegations in interview with Gayle King. The recording artist sat down with CBS's Gayle King to discuss the sexual misconduct allegations against him. R. Kelly is currently charged with 10 counts of aggregated criminal sexual abuse in 4 cases. The full interview aired on CBS this morning, Wednesday. Photo by CBS News. So I think I have the R. Kelly interview queued up here. I thought I did. Maybe I don't. But we can do that pretty quick because, well, actually, let's just watch a couple clips because I don't want to go through the entire interview. But he got, in an exclusive interview with CBS Morning, R. Kelly breaks his silence on sexual abuse claims from multiple women. Their fathers and mothers told me, we are going to destroy your career. Hey, you know what, dude? If what they say is true, and you're convicted, I'm just fine with that. You should be in prison.
Victims were underage. R. Kelly is breaking his silence about the sexual abuse charges that landed him in jail last month. The embattled R&B singer spoke with Gayle for nearly 80 minutes yesterday. It is an interview that you will see only on CBS this morning, and he says all the women now accusing him of physical and sexual abuse, he says all of them are lying.
That's what he says. Chicago prosecutors have charged.
Now, it's fascinating. I don't know why this is fascinating. It's fascinating to me. R. Kelly went to the same jail as Jussie Smollett. So I just found that humorous. I don't know why. He never seen what he did is wrong. He never will. Yeah, you know, the biggest issue right now for him is they have videotape of some of the things he was doing. So I don't know how he's going to get out of this one. And I also don't know how the hell if you didn't know this already, the videotape that they have of R. Kelly doing his thing with some young girls, and one of them, I think, in one of it, they were laughing because they were talking about her being 14 on the tape of him doing things to her. So I don't know how he's not going to get out of this. You know, I didn't watch the special. There was a special recently about R. Kelly and his abuse, and that's why this is all coming up, because you know, there was a little documentary on the victims of R. Kelly. Now, but my point I was going to make, though, is how the frick did Michael Avenatti end up with these videotapes, and who chose him? Some people must have seen him on TV and decided to make him the, you know, the Gloria Allred of of sex tapes. I don't know. Anyway, but he did an 80-minute interview. Let's look at a couple just little parts of this interview, though.
When it comes to women, that I apologize, but I apologize.
Have you done anything that you regret? Have you done anything wrong?
Lots of things wrong when it comes to women, that I apologize, but I apologize in those relationships. At the time I was in the relationships.
Have you broken any laws when it comes to women?
Absolutely not.
Have you done anything that you regret?
Yeah, we're going to find out if he broke some laws. I think he did. Let's see what else is the other part.
Six-part series, interviewed 50 people, family members, your former tour manager, numerous women who all claim that you abused them. Yeah. Are you saying everybody in that documentary was not telling the truth about you? Everybody?
If you really look at that documentary, which I'm sure you have,
I have.
Everybody said something bad about me.
Gil, wait. I don't know why this is funny to me. Just like when I was watching the interview of Jussie Smollett and the expressions on Robin Roberts' face. Check out Gayle King's face when she says, "I have." Listen, look at her face. It's like she's like, "Yeah, I have. You dirty dog."
Your former tour manager, numerous women who all claim that you abused them. Yeah. Are you saying everybody in that documentary was not telling the truth about you? Everybody?
If you really look at that documentary, which I'm sure you have,
I have.
Everybody.
Her face. I have. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but I think R. Kelly's going to go to jail. I really do. Anyway.
Said something bad about me.
Of course they said something bad about you. You're diddling their young daughters. Come on now.
Nobody said nothing good. They was describing Lucifer. I'm not Lucifer.
Hey, Lucifer.
I'm a man. I make mistakes, but I'm not a devil. And by no means am I a monster.
I'm going to name the names. Andrea Kelly, your ex-wife. Kitty Jones. Lisa Van Allen. Lisette Martinez. Geronda Pace. Faith Rogers. Asante McGee. You're saying everything they said in that documentary about you is not true.
They are lying on me.
Why would these women say the same thing about you? That you are controlling, that you are abusive, that you tell women when to eat, when to go to the bathroom, when they can sleep, where they can dress. Why would all these women tell these
Gayle King is mad. Good for her.
Different stories about you if they were not true? And they don't know each other. That defies logic to me.
Right. Until you hear the explanation. You can start a rumor on a guy like me or a celebrity just like that. All you have to do is push a button on your phone and say, so-and-so did this to me. R. Kelly did this to me. And if you get any traction from that, if you're able to write a book from that, if you're able to get a reality show, then any girl that I had a relationship in the past that it just didn't work out, she can come and say the same exact thing.
Are you
okay, so, and again, I'm going to try not to prejudge this case because I don't even know enough about it. I didn't see the documentary and I don't know anything. But in some way he's right, because what did Jussie Smollett do? Jussie Smollett put some stuff out there in put some stuff out there that in the journalistic atmosphere that everybody ate up. And so again, I'm gonna let him go through his trial, and they're gonna put some evidence out, and then we'll decide if he's guilty. But it sure is not looking real good for him right now, especially if they have some videotape of him. All right, let's move on to the next Twitter trend. Wait, what's going on here? Let's see. Is my friend... Acknowledge it. Okay. Oh, something going on in the chat here. Of course, he'll never see what he did is wrong. He's got money and fame, so in his mind, he's untouchable. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. That's the truth. It's ridiculous. My friend is so embedded in politics, and I explain why I'm not, because how toxic it's gotten. They refuse to acknowledge it or are in denial. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna keep going back. Let's see what else is trending today. So we got so far Ash Wednesday, R. Kelly, our first day of the week trend, which is Wednesday Wisdom. I don't know who Smriti Irani shares Wednesday Wisdom on Abhinandan. What the hell? I'm not going to check that. I have no idea what that says. But let's see if we get a good Wednesday Wisdom today. Oh, let's see. If you're a drug dealer and you drop $50,000 on the highway and call the state to ask that they found it, don't go to retrieve it in the same car you use for your trafficking, with all the drugs still inside and an interior reeking of pot. Oh, good God. Let's see. We got to read this article. This has got to be good. This is from the what? Casper Star Tribune. Casper, is that Wyoming? 3 suspects face drug trafficking charges after losing $50,000 on Wyoming highway. This has got to be good. Facing a multitude of drug charges, which includes possession of marijuana, ecstasy, and hallucinogenic mushrooms with intent to deliver, an Ohio man pleaded not guilty on Monday in Carbon County District Court. Corey Alda Baxter, 36, along with 2 other suspects who faced similar charges, were caught by authorities on January 31st through a fortuitous string of events. According to court records, a Wyoming Department of Transportation plow driver was working on U.S. Interstate 80 eastbound near mile marker 252 when he reportedly struck a black case. Upon closer inspection, the plow driver observed money literally blowing in the air. It was later discovered by authorities that the contents of the case turned out to be $53,844. The same day money was discovered, a Wyoming DOT supervisor was contacted by Baxter and his fellow travelers who inquired about the missing case. At this point, Baxter was instructed to retrieve the case at the Wyoming DOT facility in Elk Mountain. There, the suspect encountered troopers with the Wyoming Highway Patrol. During questioning about the validity of the currency, authorities noticed a strong odor of marijuana coming from their vehicle. This warranted a subsequent search, according to court records. Items seized during the search included 6 large duffel bags containing 81 plastic bags of suspected marijuana, 1 large duffel bag containing approximately 259 vials of liquid THC, along with additional vials of THC, 2 baggies with suspected mushrooms, which are basically magic mushrooms, and 1 vitamin jar with capsules of a light brown substance, including an additional baggie with the same substance, which proved to be MDMA, also known as ecstasy. So, I love it. These morons. So, stupid criminals of the day happen to be, what's the name? Corey Aldo Baxter. Your dumbass of the day. All right. That's and so pretty good Wednesday wisdom there. Don't call the cops if you're a drug dealer and you lose some money. Hilarious. Hilarious. Is there anything else good on Wednesday? What is it? Wednesday wisdom? Let's find some actual wisdom today. That actually, you know what? That is wisdom. Oh, Wednesday wisdom. Nothing really great. Oh, look at the little incredible things there. That's cool. The best time to shake things up is not when you're struggling. It's when you're doing well. That's when you'll have the time, energy, and freedom to innovate. Okay, there you go. That's a good Wednesday wisdom. All right, what else is trending on Twitter today? Blah, 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 blah. Let's see what's on Twitter today. Wednesday thoughts is number 7, but we've already did Wednesday wisdom, so I'm going to skip it. Kirsten Nelson. What happened to her today? Secretary of Homeland Security Kirsten Nelson is testifying before the House Committee regarding immigration policy and border control. So she's going to get raked over the coals, and you're going to hear a lot of sound bites about babies being ripped away from their mothers. I'm not going to go there. Let's see. DHS Secretary Nelson tells Congress that they have discovered recycling rings where innocent young people were used multiple times to help aliens illegally gain entry. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. There's a big problem, okay? All right, so because it is known that if you have a child with you when you illegally cross the border, you're likely to get a different type of treatment than if you're just caught by yourself. So I understand why they changed they began enforcing the actual policies on hand. I don't know what the solution is, man. I mean, you know what? That's why I say I'm not against them building walls and barriers, whatever you want to call them, at the crossing points that are accessible. I mean, that is a great deterrent. It's been a deterrent where they've put them. I know that it sounds like a very controversial thing to some people, but you know what? That's probably what works. So Kirsten Nelson's getting the old once over in Congress today, and it is live. I don't even want to necessarily go into I would listen to some of that, but no, we're not going to today. Okay, let's see. So that's what happened to my dealer. That's great, Zombie Teddy. That's hilarious. Okay. What else we got here? Family Dollar. What? Oh, no. Nearly 400 Family Dollar stores are closing. You know what? That's too bad. I got to be honest. I usually buy all my holiday cards at dollar stores, not necessarily Family Dollar, but at dollar stores, because you get 2 for 50 cents. We buy, like, for example, we'll buy birthday cards in advance and we'll just go there and buy a whole bunch of them, because then you always have one ready when you need to send someone a birthday card or whatever. But struggling discount chain Family Dollar says it will close 390 stores this year and make big changes to the stores it's keeping open. I don't even know how many Family Dollar stores are there. I see them a lot of times in smaller towns. They're dropping on mixed results. What the hell? Victoria's Secret same store sales. Hang on, chill out. I don't want to hear that. Yeah, Family Dollar is one of those. I always see them in smaller towns when we're driving around, and then maybe I see them in the Twin Cities. I don't know, but I see them a lot of times. Family Dollar will close 390 stores this year and make big changes to the stores it's keeping open as the discount chain seeks a turnaround. Family Dollar sells a variety of items for under $10 at rural and urban locations. I usually don't see them in rural locations, but I suppose there's a few in some of the bigger cities. Oh, Dollar Tree bought the company in 2015, but Family Dollar has struggled, and Dollar Tree is under heavy pressure from an activist investor. What the hell is an activist investor? To sell or revitalize the ailing line. Dollar Tree, DLTR, which sells everything for $1 and caters more to mid-income customers with suburban stores, that's the one I see. There's a Dollar Tree not too far from me, has a plan for Family Dollar. Close stores, rebrand some locations as Dollar Tree, and renovate others with $1 Tree merchandise sections. Did you hear that? Wow. Am I hungry or what? I don't know. We're confident we are taking the appropriate steps to reposition our Family Dollar brand. Dollar Tree CEO Gary Philbin said In a news release Wednesday, this is a developing story. What the hell is a activist investor? What's that a link to? Activist wants Dollar Tree to sell stuff for more than $1. Okay. $1 doesn't buy as much as it did 30 years ago. That's why one activist investor thinks it's time for Dollar Tree to raise its prices. Oh, well, that's Dollar Tree. That's not Family Dollar. Jeffrey Smith, CEO of Starboard Value, a hedge fund. Okay, I see. So this guy, meaning he wants them to have some stuff that they sell for more than $1. That's Dollar Tree, but Family Dollar is closing stores and being rebranded. Okay, so there we go. And that's trending? How many people? Why are other people talking about this? Maybe it's just because the business people. The economy doing well, says Wall Street. The propagandists, mainstream media, and bankers. Then why have a major corp close so many businesses? Buy Low Groceries, now Family Dollar, Sears, Payless Shoes, etc. Recent news. So why the economy booming, or it's all smoke and mirrors? And look, but that's exactly how it's written. I'm not like chopping up what he said there. That's exactly how I wrote it. Okay, dude. There are a lot of brick and mortar places closing and reorganizing and redoing things because everyone buys shit online all the time. So he's making some kind of a, I don't know what he's saying there. He's saying that smoke and mirrors illusion that the economy is doing well. I don't know. So, but I guess a lot of people are talking about it. So it's trending on Twitter. All right, Family Dollar Tree. That's number 9 already. Okay, I didn't even know I went through that many so fast. I don't know what Ciampa is. Do I care? When Ciampa returns, apparently he's a professional wrestler. When Ciampa returns after injury, ready to destroy Gargano for injuring him and making him vacate Goldie. What the hell? Then Candace turns around and says it was her and she would do it all over again because she hates Ciampa. Okay, I have never really followed Next Wrestling, so there we go. Don't know. So I really like shopping at Dollar Tree. Great place for cheap holiday decorations. Yeah, that's another thing. Buying wrapping paper, holiday decorations, holiday cards, or if you're doing like a party supplies. I love going to those places for that kind of stuff. Some of them have like a little grocery area where you can buy different kinds of canned food and stuff. I don't really do anything in that. Although one time, so I have a pool, and my pool store was closed. So I went into the dollar store and bought like a whole bunch of bleach so I could shock my pool. I don't know. That's a whole other thing. Pools are a pain in the ass. I'm just going to tell you that. Number 11 trending, Mistress of Evil. The Maleficent sequel has a newly revealed title, release date, and poster. But what is it? Oh, I see. Disney's Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. Isn't Maleficent what I can't remember what the Maleficent's the witch in Snow White, isn't that right? I think so. I've never seen it. My daughter saw it. I think. I don't know. Anyway, so okay, it's trending. Maleficent, Sleeping Beauty. Thank you. That's right. Okay, but I guess a lot of people are excited about it. Oh, now she's really excited about it. And, all right, that'll bomb. You know what? I don't think it will. It was actually, it got really good reviews, and kids. No, I've seen Snow White. I mix things up. Come on. And I'm not 60. Stop it. I'm not 60 yet. I've got a long time before I'm 60. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, release dates. People are excited. Okay, I can understand why that might be trending, especially that crowd. Anyway, Cassie Gage, don't know who that is. What is Cassie Gage? Has been current. Oh, for Mortal Kombat 11, and we've got a deep dive on how she's changed. Took a while to get used to all the differences, but we've come around. Cassie Gage is is a character in Mortal Kombat. Okay. People are talking about that too. Okay. Anything else interesting? Robert Kelly is R. Kelly. Briarwood Arc. Don't know what that is. Don't care. New stretch goals has to do with what? Oh, apparently that's a animated feature. Don't know anything about it. Anything else interesting here? Let's see. Sam Zell, Cody Weddle, trapped in the closet. What? I just remember you saying you're not that much younger than Luke Perry and your kids being in college. Oh, well, yeah. Luke Perry died. It was actually Luke Perry. How old was Luke Perry? He's like 50, 52, 53, something like that. Yeah, he and I are roughly the same age. And I do have kids in college. Well, my daughter's already graduated college, and my son is about to graduate college. Okay, well, I'm 54. Okay. But, hey, look at this. Hang on. Hold up. Take a look. Look at me right here. Do I look 54? Don't answer that. You know, the reason I still have a beard is because when I shave, I have such a baby face that, whatever. I'm much younger than I look, or at least that's what people tell me. Some guy the other day at work, he was like, wait, you're how old? You're 54? Oh, I thought you were like 35. I'm like, no, you didn't. I don't look that young. Anyway. Okay, early 40s. Okay. I could do that. I'm fine with that. All right, let's find the last couple. Okay, for some reason, Rock Nation, which is Jay-Z's thing. They win another legal battle. They got all charges dismissed against Jabari Talbot, the 6th grade boy who was arrested last month after refusing to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, I'm not sure. Oh, okay, so let's read this. Because remember the kid who they say got arrested for not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? Well, first of all, he didn't get arrested for not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. What happened was he refused to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, got in a minor argument with the teacher, and then he threatened violence against the teacher. So the teacher decided that she didn't want him in the classroom for threatening her. It had nothing. It started with him not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, but it was because he threatened her. Now, some would say, oh, well, a 6th grader, 12, 13-year-old, whatever, threatening a teacher, how could, who would be scared of a teacher or of a kid who's 12, 13 years old if you're a teacher? Well, let's put it this way. When I was in 6th grade, I was roughly 5 foot 10 inches tall, and I weighed about 190 pounds. I was a lot bigger than my 6th grade teacher. And so if I had been that type of kid who would threaten a teacher, I would understand why a teacher would be scared of me, because I was 7 inches taller than her, and I outweighed her by almost double because she was a tiny woman. So you know what? If a kid threatens a teacher, I can't blame the teacher for, no matter how old the kid is, I can't blame the teacher for not wanting him in the class anymore. That's why he got removed from class, because he got refused to leave the class, not because he wouldn't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. But let's read this article anyway, because it's, okay, so it's from Complex, so it's going to have that complex spin. Here we go. Team Rock has helped secure another legal victory. The philanthropic division of Jay-Z's Rock Nation rallied in support of an 11-year-old Jabari Talbot, the 6th grade boy who was arrested last month after refusing to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The incident took place on February 4th at Lawton Childs Middle Academy in Lakeland, Florida, where the student got into a heated exchange with a substitute teacher. According to Bay 9 News, Jabari explained he would not participate in the pledge because the flag was racist and the national anthem was offensive to black people. kid, you're a moron. Anyway, no, I shouldn't have said that. He's a kid. Someone taught him that. Whoever taught him that. Whatever. The teacher, Ana Alvarez, then asked the student why he didn't simply leave the country if he hated it so much. Jabari reportedly responded, "They brought me here." Jabari, I'm going to guess you were born here. But anyway, "Well, you can always go back because I came here from Cuba," she fired back. "And the day I feel I'm not welcome here anymore, I would find another place to live." Alvarez said she then contacted the school's main office because she did not want to continue dealing with him. They left out the part where he threatened her with violence. That was in the other story that I read about this. Jabari was arrested shortly thereafter by a school resource office who claimed the student was being disruptive and refused to obey commands. Right. An arrest affidavit. Oh, here it is. An arrest affidavit states that Jabari also threatened the substitute teacher with physical violence and told the principal and arresting officer he would get them fired. That is why a child is removed from class, for threatening physical violence. The child's arrest eventually caught the attention of Team Rock, a Rock Nation division dedicated to assisting victims of racial injustice. You know what? I don't have any problem with them dropping the charges on the kid, whatever charges they might have been. It may have been just a scare charge anyway. Whatever. The team has been involved in a number of high-profile cases, including the Hoodie arrest in Tennessee, as well as 21 Savage's legal battle against Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Yeah, he's going to lose that one, though. Team Rock tapped famed attorney Alex Spiro to handle Jabari's case pro bono. Well, it wasn't pro bono. Rock Nation paid for him. You morons. Jabari is a courageous and intelligent young man who deserves all the credit for standing up for his beliefs, Spiro said in a statement. He should have never been arrested or entangled in this situation. His freedom of speech rights were clearly protected under the First Amendment. I agree with that 100%. Until he threatened the teacher. Threatened the teacher with physical violence. But you're right. He doesn't have to stand for the national anthem. He doesn't have to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. He doesn't have to salute the flag if he doesn't want to. I don't care. I would prefer that he did. But you know what? Hey, teach your own, kid. But don't threaten the teacher. That's all I'm reading of this one. Rock Nation. Yippee Skippy. The baby boy who was arrested for selling CDs is going to be next. I got faith in what Jay has been doing to help reform the justice system. This is a great thing for the kid. Yeah, you know what? I'm fine with them dismissing the charges. Okay? Whatever the charges were. I don't even know what the charges were. But, let's just say that don't threaten the teachers. Fine if you don't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, whatever. That's been in the courts for a long time. That's a no-brainer. All right, but people are talking about it. It's on Twitter. Of course, it's on Twitter. I don't know if that one's gonna grow today or not. What did Brit Hume do? Number 19, Brit Hume. The left calls Trump Hitler, a rapist, a racist, a tyrant, a Russian agent, etc. But the moment Brit Hume says Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is like a 5-year-old, it's outrageous and newsworthy. This is exactly why people don't trust the media. Okay, so apparently Brit Hume belittles... Oh! Well, let's see the HuffPost article. Brit Hume belittles adorable Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's like a 5-year-old child. Okay, that's newsworthy. Okay, so everyone's going to be talking about Brit Hume because everything that is related to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is front page news. So she really does. She is the left's Trump. I'm just telling you. And I don't know that a lot. I hate to break it to these people because they think that the right is obsessed with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, when in fact most of the right thinks she's hilarious. They think she's a moron. and most of the left, I mean, they love her, but a lot of the left is getting tired of her too. So there's a kind of this weird dichotomy where a lot of these, especially establishment Democrats, but you know what? Hey, she is actually, I'm going to try to phrase this carefully because in some ways she is brilliant at getting the media to talk about her. And because of her young look, she is attractive to a younger generation of people and bringing them into politics. Now, the problem is her ideas leave a lot to be desired. So, but she's brilliant as getting, and boy, you talk about her, it's a pretty much a given deal that you're going to make headlines. And of course, HuffPost decided that she was belittling her. Not unusual. Most of the right of center pundits do belittle her. Brit Hume is under fire for belittling AOC. Brit Hume on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's kind of adorable. Oh, the Krassensteins. This is one of the ding dong Krassensteins. What is it with these conservative white men speaking down to women of power like AOC's looks or adorableness is irrelevant in any way to her political motives or ideologies? I'm tired of these white male bigots. Dear Ed Krasenstein, you're a white male! Moron. But I get it. I get it. But it's not just the conservative white men who think she's a bit of a moron. Nancy Pelosi is no fan of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's just not. So, all right then. Okay, cynical Lindsay. When I say brilliant, okay, I'm not talking about necessarily her intellect. What I'm saying is, as far as she is very good at manipulating social media and media. And because she's the it girl right now, she gets plenty of help from the media. But I'm just telling you, she knows how to get her opinion out there. Be it saying outrageous things or saying stupid things or whatever it is she does. And personally, I think most of the things she says are stupid, but that's my opinion. That's a lot of people's opinion. But she knows how to get her name, keep her name. Well, part of it is the media with a lot of media help, but her name is out there constantly. I doubt if there's many people who don't know who she is. And well, maybe, I don't know. I wonder. I'm a political junkie, so I know who all these people are. I'm curious. Maybe I'll do an experiment and just go ask random people if they know who Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is and what they think of her. That'd be an interesting one. Do one of those. Who does that? There's a bunch of people who do that kind of stuff, like Fleckatalks type style thing. Anyway, the only good to come out of AOC, Rashid Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar getting elected is that this will cause the Democratic Party to fall apart. You know what? They're good for themselves, but I don't think I think they're going to hurt the Democratic Party. Well, the Democratic Party is becoming fraction, very much like the Republican Party was, 30 years ago. But the Republican Party kind of rallied around certain, what was it when Newt Gingrich came out there and they had the 10 points or whatever, and they said, these are the things we're going to work on, and kind of rally the Republicans together when Clinton was president. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. Right now, the Democratic Party is so married to the idea of identity politics that some of the identities that they are trying to embrace and bring all into this big tent don't get along. And that's their big problem. So anyway, let's finish up a couple more Twitter trends, and I got to get out of here because I just looked at the time and I'm running late today. So anyway, so Britt Hume, Jose Clark. Okay, I'm not going to go down to the 20s. Holy crap, they got Twitter trends all the way up to 40 today. Hell to the no, I'm not doing that today. You're going to hear about trade wars, Britt Hume. What else? Anything else new? I think that's it for today. I think I'm done with Twitter trends. Let's see. I'm just a refresh to see if those things are still in that order. Oh, there's a couple new ones. Ruin an 80s movie. Nielsen. Christine Nielsen. Okay, so it's all the same stuff for the most part. I don't know who Mario Batali is, but that's good enough. That's it for today. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. It's been a lot of fun talking about Twitter. I really do recommend, if you have time today, go check out the interview on Joe Rogan with Tim Pool, Jack Dorsey, and Vijaya Gotti. And again, go to JRE Clips and watch the clips if you can't do it all in one sitting. But it was a fascinating, just a fascinating show on what the people at Twitter think versus what the rest of us think, and how they deal with the world. So that's it for today. If you would like to, right down there, there's a little arrow that says share. Share this out on social media. I think what I'm going to start doing too is, as I do this show, I kind of like what Joe Rogan does with the JRE clips. He pulls different parts apart and makes them puts them in smaller bites. So I think I'm going to start doing that, cutting this up based on the topic. And as I go through things, I'll put smaller clips out for people to watch if you want to see them again. Also, if you ever want to donate to the show, right down there in this description, there is Streamlabs links where we could do super chats and just donations. I'm going to add a couple other donation links eventually here, but right now we'll just do it all through Streamlabs. And otherwise, just come every day. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 3 p.m. GMT for those of you in other parts of the world trying to figure out when I'm on. And I really appreciate being here. Thank you to the chat, everyone who comes on a daily basis, and some of you who even... and even some of you who are just can get here when you can get here, or lurk in the background, or watch the show later. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Dawg Knight, and I am out of here. Goodbye.